we have the bourbons.
Hello everyone, welcome to Bourbon Bites. My name is Clifton and today I'm reviewing the much anticipated, maybe, Arby's Smoked Bourbon. This is a follow-up to Arby's Curly Fry and Crinkle Cut Vodka, which I reviewed last year. But I'm a bourbon channel and I think I'm better suited to review this brand new Arby's Smoked Bourbon. If you're new here, hi, welcome. I typically do a more serious whiskey and bourbon review channel, but I like having a little fun with it every now and then. This sold out within, I think it's actually within a minute. I've already seen bottles going for over $250 on the secondary market. I don't participate in that. I just bought it at retail, $60 when it first came out, and I'm gonna review it based on that. So Arby's Smoked Bourbon is actually distilled by Brain Brew Custom Whiskey out of Ohio, which funnily enough, I have had their founder and CEO on the channel. Actually did a custom blend of Bourbon Byte custom whiskey, but this one's all on me. I had no idea they were affiliated with it, so I bought this with my own money, so this is a not sponsored review. I'm gonna give my honest first impressions of Arby's Smoked Bourbon. So of course, the gimmick is that this bourbon is smoked like Arby's meats. This is bourbon whiskey finished with American oak staves that have been smoked with hickory, mesquite, and pecan smoke. I'm very intrigued. I've had some other finished whiskeys, like I said, from the brand, but the first time they've done something as crazy as this. And as you see, there is a piece of actual charred oak dangling from this bottle. It's actually part of the seal on this, so it actually has a wax topper. So I'm gonna open this for the first time just for you guys. Okay. There we go. So this Arby's Smoked Bourbon comes in at 45% ABV, which is 90 proof, an honorable, respectable proof. A lot of times these, specialty whiskeys come in at 80 proof, which is, a typical proof for, typical vodkas or gins or even basic bourbons. But when you're dealing with a high-end, more of a limited release bourbon, you typically see it at higher proof. So I do give them credit. This one coming in at 90 proof, I'm really hopeful for this whiskey. Let's go ahead and give it a nose. Different, but I actually like it a lot. That's actually surprisingly smoky. Not quite in like an Arby's smoked meat style of smoke. There's definitely some extra char going on with these barrels. To produce this bourbon, American oak is smoked in a patented process with hickory, mesquite, and pecan smoke from Sadler Smokehouse in Texas. The smoked wood is then placed inside the bourbon where it's heated and cooled to replicate seasonal temperature variation. As a bourbon drinker, that kind of tells me that this is probably a pretty young bourbon. It's not going to be like a 8 to 10 year old bourbon like we see in some of the amazing bourbon I review on this channel. But maybe they've been able to replicate it. I doubt that. But you know what? I'm willing to give Arby's Smoked Bourbon a try. So let's go and give this one a taste. Cheers. Oh, wow. That's very different than I expected. Honestly, I think they've absolutely nailed the smoked flavor. Now, it's not the same as like a smoky whiskey. You can definitely tell that something's been added to this. It's a lot more similar to like a smoked old-fashioned cocktail, where they actually put the smoke into the cocktail, let it sit and mingle for a bit, and then remove the smoke. I actually had one at Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen in Las Vegas. They did a smoked old-fashioned. It was absolutely wonderful. This is actually reminiscent of that. I think they've really replicated that smoked flavor in the bourbon itself. Now, as a bourbon drinker, do I like that neat? I don't know. It's a bit weird for me. However, I'm not just a bourbon neat drinker. I've always been one to say, drink whiskey how you like to drink it, whether you have it over ice or, in a cocktail. You do you. But this one I think would do fantastic in a cocktail. So I would love to try Arby's Smoked Bourbon in an old fashioned. So look what we have here. This is my go-to bourbon cocktail. This is a very traditional old fashioned, just simple syrup, Angostura bitters, and Arby's Smoked Bourbon. Not quite traditional, but basically following the recipe. I want to go ahead and give it a try. Cheers. Ooh, yes, absolutely yes. This is the best way to enjoy Arby's Smoked Bourbon in a smoked old fashioned. That being said, this is a really unique spirit. I think, for 60 bucks, it is something that I've never had quite the same way. I have had some, like I said, mesquite smoked or hickory smoked bourbons. They've been quite a bit different. They've been a bit overpowering. This on its own, yes, I agree, is overpowering. But in a cocktail, which may be the way that Arby's intended us to enjoy this old fashioned. I don't know. Again, I've never been to an Arby's that has had alcohol. Would love to. I think bourbon and barbecue and smoked meats go so well together. If I got served this in Hell's Kitchen, I would not be disappointed. This makes for a fantastic smoked old fashioned. So on this channel, I give whiskeys a rating out of 8 because I love all things 8-bit. It's just kind of a theme here. So Arby's smoked bourbon, I'm gonna have to give this one 2 scores. I'll be honest. I think neat. This isn't something that I typically enjoy. I'd probably give this a 3 out of 8 neat. But again, don't shame it just neat, because in a cocktail, this makes a fantastic smoked old fashioned. As a cocktail bourbon, this gets a 7 out of 8. The only thing I feel like it's missing is a little bit of the proof. Coming in at 90 proof, it's a fair proof. But usually when I'm mixing with, bitters and syrup and ice, I prefer things a little bit higher proof. So that'd be the only thing that gives it a bit of an edge. But as a smoked old fashioned, absolutely gets a 7 out of 8. So I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say about this. I was blown away. I was expecting something on par with the vodka, which we had last year. I think this is definitely a step above the vodka. So let me know in the comments below if you had a chance to try this. Do you like it? Do you think it's a gimmick? Would love to hear your thoughts. But until next time, this has been Bourbon Bites. Cheers, and I'll see you next video.